Guys and girls, Boz here from OpenCorp, back again for today's Open Kitchen. Open Kitchen's a series where we bring in different people as part of our business and have a casual conversation for a few minutes about what they do, what they love about their job, and most importantly, I guess, what they provide and how they contribute to the overall client journey that we have within the business. Today, I've got Jay Fife, Jamie, who is our acquisitions manager. Welcome to Open Kitchen. Great to have you.
Thanks, Boz. I'm feeling a bit nervous, if I have to be honest, about being in the room with Leonardo DiCaprio, the OpenCorp celebrity here, but good to be here.
For someone who was nervous, mate, to fire a barb like that straight off the bat, you must be filled with some inner confidence. So that's okay. I'll get to our land run in Brisbane next week, and we'll get the real truth out on camera. Stay tuned. Being serious for a second, I guess, what's involved with being the acquisitions manager at OpenCorp?
Yeah, so it's a pretty open question. I mean, obviously we've got a great team and everyone puts in different parts of that. And I guess looking at it from a research and data point of view to determine, which capital cities and which markets we get involved in based on the particular market cycles, and narrowing it down to suburbs and developers, and then obviously selecting the land and the properties themselves.
Right, so you guys are basically, Cam talks about, and we talk about the map process a lot. In a lot of our videos, you guys are kind of the executors of the map strategy, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. We've got a big long list of criteria to ensure that every property is selected with those key principles in mind. Mm-hmm. If we didn't, then I'm sure we'd hear about it from Cam and Al. So we like working here, and obviously, the goal for us is to ensure that we're giving people the best possible chance of growing their portfolio and de-risking their investment decisions, and obviously it's really great for us when we see people duplicating and first-time investors that are nervous and then making that decision, and now they're on their third, fourth or fifth property. So that's what it's about, and that's what we like doing.
Yeah, fantastic. It's always great when you hear about, I guess, what gets people out of bed and the kind of difference that they want to make, which is awesome. So I think what would be great to learn a little bit more about and pick your brain about is what are some of the kind of like competitive advantages? What is it that you're able to do that investors, dealing with a builder by themselves, for example, just might not be clued onto? What are some of those kind of like little 1%ers that you're providing that make a big difference?
Look, it's a great question. So other than the thousands of hours we put into market research and analytics, one thing that often goes overlooked is the relationships that we've built and developed with our developers. Don't mind the pun, but it is one of the key advantages, I guess, of what OpenCorp clients are getting. So to put that into perspective, when we acquire land, we're not going in there getting the dregs of what's left of a stage release. More often than not, we have developers coming to us because we set the expectation prior to a public release, or even prior to going to other investment groups. So they'll essentially sit down with us. We'll go through and pick the cream of the crops, or the golden nuggets as we refer to it, to ensure that we've got the best possible product in that estate and in that stage release.
Cool. The golden nuggets come with sweet and sour sauce like they did up in Brisbane last Friday, mate.
Yeah, there's a few of those, wasn't there?
Yeah. Indeed there was. Awesome. So I mentioned our trip up to Brisbane. So all of the consultants and your team, we headed up to Brisbane last week. The purpose of that trip was essentially to be able to see areas that we had some completed product and tenanted houses in, and just see kind of how the areas had come together, as well as scope out some new potential areas that our research had told us that we want to be in. What's the benefit, I guess, of you do these kind of trips, fairly consistently? What's the point of those, or what's the goal of those trips, and how does it help you deliver what you do?
Yeah, I guess there's only so much you can do when it comes to looking at it on a computer. So going through the data and looking at it on the maps. One of the real key focuses for us is that we, as the directors do as well, we only want to recommend properties that we ourselves would buy. So I guess a lot of our clients don't have the freedom to fly in and out of certain areas and spend every weekend going around different projects. So I mean, that's part of the service, and that's what we're employed to do. So having the boots on the ground is a big step in deciding a certain area. So it may look good from a numbers point of view, but if you go down and look at it and there's a tip across the road, or the area just doesn't have the capital benchmark and the type of housing that we'd expect.
What's a capital benchmark?
Yeah, so a capital benchmark essentially is knowing that where we're buying is under what the medium house price or close to of the area. So for example, if we're going into a project where there's a bunch of investors that are buying really subpar properties, and there's not those sort of bigger properties and owner-occupier driven properties to drive up prices, it's a no-go from us, so we won't get involved. We're very strict about the percentage of owner-occupiers as opposed to investors, to ensure that there is that capital benchmark, so clients have a much better prospect of getting higher capital growth throughout the years.
Awesome. Didn't mean to cut you off, mate. So you can finish your previous answer if you can still remember it. But it's a really key point. So it was great from my perspective. It was great to see how these areas had come on and how quickly they can kind of develop when there is demand. Over a 6 to 12 month period. Great to see some massive parks and childcare centres going in. And I actually had a client on the phone this morning. I rang them with the update on what we saw, and she was so excited. It was great. So that's obviously a key part of what you do. What would you say? It's a common question that I ask. What would you say the challenges are in your role, and how do you overcome those?
Yeah, so the challenge. There's many challenges. So it's not just looking at it from this property looks great. There's a lot that goes into each and every specific area. So, for example, a particular house design might work in a particular suburb. Whereas if you're going to a more affluent suburb and you want to command a higher rent, then we're very fortunate that we have really great builders that we work with that are always willing to push the boundaries and develop the product and the floor plan. So I guess there's a lot of effort and time spent into ensuring that the floor plans and the house designs that are going into specific areas are matching what's required. So we speak very closely with property management to get an idea of what tenants are looking for. So it's not a cookie cutter approach to throwing darts at a dartboard for everything. Every single project is specific, and part of that, it takes up a lot of time and a lot of resources, but the end result is always very rewarding. So
unreal. Anything else you'd like to share with people? Maybe what you did on Sunday when you came home, got some Zeds?
Yeah. Well, funny actually, after our Queensland trip of having some nice restaurants up in Queensland, I came home and all I could think about was sitting on the couch with some KFC. So probably shouldn't share that, but it was good. It was much needed rest after a long weekend. So. But it was good. There's a few other stories I can share, but probably not on camera. So
maybe stay tuned for episode 2 of Open Kitchen with Jamie Fife for a later date. But all jokes aside, mate, thanks for joining us, giving everyone some insight into the 1%ers and the tweaks and what we provide here. And look forward to our next land run. We'll see you next time, guys.
Thanks,
Take care.
Guys. Bye.